CIO News. I'm Akash Mistry, your host for the broadcast of CIO News. This is a recorded session and will be available on our website, cionews.co.in and CIO News LinkedIn handle. This is an exclusive fireside chat powered by Avaya on transformation through customer experience. Businesses are built by experiences they provide, and every day, millions of those experiences are delivered by Avaya. Avaya is shaping what's next for the future of work with innovation and partnership that delivers a game-changing business benefit. So let's dive in and let me introduce my guest for today, Mr. Ajay Setia. He's the founder and CEO of Emptra and Truegy. Mr. Ajay is an entrepreneur and comes from a software background. He has worked with Lloyds Bank London for 5 years as a software engineer. He came back to India in 2017 to pursue his entrepreneurship journey. He founded Invincible Publishers and e-learning in 2017 and exited the business at the valuation of USD 2 million in March 2022. His new venture under the Invincible Ocean flag automates the verification process with AI technology through its flagship product, Emptra and Truegy. He has won Dynamic Entrepreneur Award for the year 2019 and Business Ratna Award in 2020. We also have Mr. Anurag Yadava, Sales Director for Mid-Market North and West, who has over 23 years of experience. Over to you, Mr. Anurag.
Thank you, Akash, for setting up the context, and thanks a lot, Ajay, for taking out time to join us for this discussion. In fact, I was looking forward to this discussion. Truegy, whatever I've seen and kind of read through, is doing some truly interesting work. And I was absolutely fascinated when I, went through your website in terms of what you're doing in terms of creating a report slash score mechanism across, personal, social, professional, personal profile. It truly fascinated me. And I would be really keen to understand in terms of how you started this journey.
Thanks, Anurag, and thanks, Akash, for the introduction. So, Emptra and Truegy is my second venture. So, before that, I founded one company, Invincible Publishers and e-learning, which was a publishing platform and a tech platform, and we were doing everything related to education in Invincible. That was acquired by Mittal Books, like in $2 million, last month only. So, this is a second venture where we are playing with the technology and we have automated the complete verification process, the complete background check process. And so we have two products in this. One of the product is Emptra, which is a B2B product, and another product is Truegy, which is a B2C product. In B2B product, where we have automated that background check process where the companies, they can verify their employees, and within 30 seconds, we can do the complete verification, including the court case verification and the police verification. Also, we have a solution which is called anti-money laundering solution, where you just need to enter the details of a person. If he has done fraud in Europe, let's say, we can tell you within seconds what all fraud he has done related to money, what was the adverse media effect, or whatever he has done related to money laundering. So these are the different solution. Court case API is there, court case solution is there. So in Emptra, we do that. And Truegy is a B2C platform. We are still working on that platform. There is an Android app and iOS app. But considering it's a B2C product, we are asking people to create their profile and get that verified. And this profile can be used for pre-matrimony verification, even for employment verification. If you meet someone on a dating app, then they can share their true profile. So idea is Truegy, but I think considering we started with B2C product, we were not able to generate revenue out of it. Then we created this B2B product, which is Emptra. Now we are working with almost 100 plus fintech companies. Few banks are there who are already onboarded with us. So this is how it works with Emptra and Truegy.
That's really wonderful. In fact, we look forward to this B2C thing taking shape.
Yes.
Whatever you shared in terms of doing in Emptra B2B, and especially that within 30 seconds kind of a thing, I'm sure it would have taken a lot of effort in terms of having those integrations in place to be able to do that.
Right.
So That's really interesting, and I think new of its kind. So in fact, and that brings me to this point that last 2.5 years I think have been pretty eventful in numerous ways.
Right.
Uh, we have seen a dramatic shift in the way technology is consumed, the adoption of specifically cloud, digital, and automation in this as we term it pre and post COVID era. So post COVID era, I think, and we have been talking about it over the last 12, 18, 24 months, that things have accelerated a lot, right, in
Right.
terms of people adopting this.
Right.
And technology, as per me, if you ask me, in countless ways has helped create and deliver differentiated experiences for both employees as well as the consumer per se. And it's not only responsible for delivery of the experience but also for the support to these experiences, which scale seamlessly with personalization across channels. I mean, initially there used to be one or two channels people used to kind of interact in, but now you have plethora of ways to interact and engage with the businesses. So that brings me to the first question, and what, as per you, is the relevance and role of technology across different businesses?
I think like with technology, with my second venture only, like we have made things very easy and they're very fast. Even the customer acquisition with technology is very easy, but it depends upon upon sector to sector. Let me give you an example with my first venture with Invincible Publishers, which is a publishing platform. Let's say like you have written a book. If we have to shape anything or if we have to drive anything as per technology or as per a defined format, then I think technology can be very helpful. We tried everything to drive publishing business with technology, considering it's a very uh, uh, like it's not managed properly, the publishing business as of now in India, considering like the people who are sitting from last 100 years or 150 years, they are not ready to adopt the technology. Second part, when you write a book, when you're writing some content, no, there is an emotional factor which is associated with that. You won't be able to make changes with technology. You can't edit the book with a specific format. So in that case, like the technology, I think was not tried everything like to play with the publishing business. Then there was a COVID time. At that time, like we launched our e-learning app, which is an edtech platform. We tried to drive the education with technology. Everybody was there on their laptops or on their phones. They tried to they were trying to study, like they were preparing for bank exams, UPSC exams, but it was for that era only. But now you see, like once the situation is fine, everybody is going back again to these institutions to study. And even if you see big platforms like Baiju or an academy or any edtech platform, they're again opening their offline stores or offline institutes just to drive, like, and they're giving a hybrid solution with online and offline market. So it depends upon the sector as well, like which sector or which business is it with technology. I think like the customer acquisition would be very easy with technology in edtech or even the publishing platform. But when we now, like for the second venture, this Emptra, where like we're driving everything through a defined process, that would be for fintech companies or for banks or for anybody like who is willing to adopt the technology to verify employees or for any lending business. So in that case, I think technology is very relevant. there there wouldn't be any time like edtech in fintech after a few years or 3 years or 4 years that people would be going back sharing their Aadhaar card or PAN card photos, or they're submitting their documents in physical form. People are shifting towards technology in the fintech space and banking space, but but in publishing and edtech sector or in education sector, I think that in India it would take 5 or 10 years more to completely adopt the technology. So this is my experience. Yeah.
Well, I couldn't disagree more, especially to the point, and I'm taking this liberty of sharing this personal example. When you say people are going back to the old ways in certain, respects, if you ask me, I like reading a physical book, a hardcover book, rather than reading it on a, let's say, a Kindle or any other device.
It's an
So that
emotional,
way,
like more than a technology. Like you can read on a Kindle, it would be very easy, or it would be easy to carry. But it's an emotional. When you connect with your feelings, no, then I think like technology wouldn't be anything like that would overtake everything.
absolutely. I think
Right.
you hit it on the lane when you said, I think it's a hybrid model here as well. Like in the way we are working today, it's like work from home or work from office. It's a hybrid atmosphere we have. And I think similarly, people are basically balancing out in terms of consuming this through technology or in person physical. Very valid point. And that brings me to the next question. With this current growth in technology, adoption and a movement especially towards cloud, towards automation, towards kind of working remote, how do you think it is helping scale the business? What role does it play to kind of scale the business or allows you to increase and expand the footprint?
See, I think like first one, like to build anything, like you need to have employees, you need to have resources. To manage resources, I think like technology is playing a bigger role. If anybody is working from home, if we have to share the resources related to the company, then definitely like technology is playing a big role. Then there is a cloud part. Then you can access anything and everything like through cloud, like sitting at home, sitting in office, and you can have multiple branches. And apart from that, I think like with technology, with even the social media and other platforms, I think that the customer acquisition is very easy. The way like we need to set up a big offline marketing team or the online marketing team with the technology with different platforms, I think like the customer acquisition is very easy, and that is the main thing like to drive any business. uh, and as I told you, like the future is technology, but it takes time, like how we adopt it and how are we willing to take it forward. So there is no other thing like in saying like technology is not playing a good role in any business.
So very true. I mean, it ultimately would depend in terms of how you consume. I think you rightly said that. And I think somewhere availability and accessibility has
Right.
hastened, especially post COVID, through these virtual and
But
uh, moving applications on cloud, which is accessible to all through various media. I think
right.
you're absolutely right there.
And
And
even
technology,
even
sorry.
I just want to add one more point. See, with the adoption of technology, there are different startups, there are different business models which are coming up. There are different platforms who are helping to drive different businesses of different kinds. So I think like in some other way, like we are also generating some employment regarding like with technology. So I think like in both the way, like we are getting more opportunities and we are getting more ways to drive the business.
Very nice. Uh, and and somewhere technology has also revolutionized businesses
Right.
as we know it, as we see it, and organizations across industries, across the spectrum, I think, verticals, are looking to harness it to improve operational and business efficiencies. And I'm sure you would be doing that in certain respects in your line of business as well. So, what's your view on the future of businesses, especially the ones driven by or centered around technology? These days, we see a lot of startups, a lot of unicorns, especially in that domain. You talked about ed tech, healthcare is seeing a lot of tech play there.
Right.
So, what's your view on the future of businesses like these?
So I think like we can categorize the businesses into like three categories or two categories. One category like people who are doing business in a traditional way, like who are doing business for 50 years or 100 years. They are willing to take, they're willing to adopt the technology in their business, but somehow like it's very difficult for them to change the traditional model and going to a new new technology and putting everything from the traditional model like which is working from last 50 or 100 years. It's very it's not very easy. With the new businesses like who are coming up, as I said, like there are different platforms who are helping old businesses and new businesses to shape well or to adopt the technology in a better way. In that case, I think these new technology businesses, they're creating a great opportunity for all these businesses. And I forgot one point I was, and that is a very relevant point. Let's say like for an example, like there is a company called Razorpay collecting money and collecting like the subscriptions. It's very easy through Razorpay. Like the way like which we were doing manually. We were sending emails. There were uh, multiple mails which were going to different clients. No, so that way I think like these businesses like who are making things easy for the business, uh, they have a very great future. And this is how like we started this Emptra, which is a background check process. I think like for any business, no, this is my experience from last 6 or 7 years. There is nothing like getting customer is very easy as per my view. Managing everything is very easy, but managing employees is a big task and it takes too much efforts and money. So in that case, like if we are doing proper background checks, or if we are doing everything, if we are driving everything through technology in managing the employees, so in that way, like I think managing the employees would be easy. So that is how like we started Emptra.
Very interesting. I think you're right when you say, I mean, these days convenience has become really important. If you can deliver the service at the doorstep, if I can
Right.
consume something while sitting here on my chair and using my laptop or my phone, I think there's nothing better than that in terms of delivering those. And the work, especially you talked about in terms of getting the verifications done. Currently, it's B2B when you talked about that anti-money laundering pieces, verification getting done within 30 seconds, which to me sounds pretty amazing.
So
So that,
I'll please complete it. Sorry.
yeah, so that I was saying that sounds pretty amazing to me, and I would like to kind of understand more in terms of how you're achieving that, and how would you kind of replicate similar kind of let's say deliverables when you move into B2C, which is still work in progress, as I understand.
So for the background check process or the verification process, if you hire any traditional company, like for the background check, they take 7 to 8 days or 10 days to do the complete verification. What we have done, like we've integrated different APIs or different systems from the government. Let's say like for the PAN verification, we are directly integrated with NSDL. For company verification, we are directly integrated with MCA. And even the government has done a great job like in driving everything through API. So there are different departments, like there is MCA for the company verification, there is NSDL for PAN verification, there is DigiLocker or UIDI for Aadhaar verification. So we have integrated with all of them. There is a cloud platform like which is there is a link we generate. You just need to fill up details in within 1 second or less than 1 second. We directly hit NSDL and verify your PAN. Then we directly hit UIDI, verify your Aadhaar card. Then there is a solution where we check the different court cases or police verification. Let's say like if there is a person who have like 4 or 5 FIRs on his name in different police stations. So there is a centralized database by the government that we access through our API, and we check all Supreme Court cases, High Court cases, and we do police verification through our API. That takes 6 or 7 seconds, and we pull the complete detail and we put that in our dashboard. Within 30 seconds or within 40 seconds, you would be able to download the complete verification report. So this is the use of technology. Like let's say like if you're taking 7 or 8 days or 10 days to do the manual verification and going to police station and get the verification done for this particular person, he used to check the records and then he used to call the police station of his hometown whether like this person has any police case registered or not. That we are doing within seconds, and I think like government is also playing a good role in that. And there are more things like that can be provided by that can be done by the government, and so that everything can be done seamlessly. And there is a platform like, which is API Setu by the government only. So that is also helping in different verifications.
No, absolutely. I think that's the point I stated in the beginning. It would have required a lot of integrations, not
Right.
within applications only, but in terms of, as you said, there's a lot of integrations you've done with the various departments. And I think it's a wonderful use case of the use of technology to kind of fetch the data, populate the data, and reporting the data slash information, to the end consumer or the business which you're working with. And I'm sure this entire chain is working pretty fabulously to be able to kind of achieve those kind of efficiencies. When you say 30 seconds is a pretty amazing time, I keep harping that point again, but I think to
No,
be able to achieve that outcome of, let's say, reducing it from few days of running around and getting that which is available on your desktop through a portal, through these backend integrations. I think that's pretty wonderful.
Even I want to mention about our B2C app, that Truegy, which like we had very good hops like with Truegy platform. We could say like it's a verified resume. So let's say like if I'm meeting you first time, I'll share my LinkedIn profile or Facebook profile, or I'll share my resume with you. But this is not
Hmm.
verified data. So with Truegy, you can create your profile and you can do the verifications online through these APIs only, and everything on Truegy is verified. So it's like an verified online resume, and that can be used with anybody. Let's say you shared your true profile with me with a link, and after a few days you don't want me to see your profile, or you don't want me to see the online resume. Then simply you can click the key, update the key within seconds, and I won't be able to access your resume. And that can be used for pre-matrimony verification. I told you, like even you're meeting someone on dating app, even for the employment verification. We spend so much time in interviewing someone, and after interview process, then we go for the background verification once they join or before they join. But this whole process, like one or two, three interviews, before that, like if we are getting any verified resume for any employee, I think that would reduce the time. No? So this is the overall idea with Truegy. But we are still working on it, like how can we make it big and how can we make people get aware about.
Absolutely wonderful. I think this would be pretty helpful, especially in the professional domain in terms of getting those background checks done. Though I'm not sure on the social side of it when you say on the dating platforms and the matrimonial pieces, how
It should,
effective or how good that would be taken. But I'm sure it would be pretty useful for people to kind of have that information available on the desktop before they get into,
right,
further.
right.
Okay. So, taking it further, what's the future you see, especially in this domain which you're currently in? If I may use that term of profiling, whether it's social, professional, health-related profile, lifestyle. So, what future you see from currently where you are, and where do you see this business to kind of scale to in future? Uh, and
So
what vision do you have with respect to that?
So the verification business, like it's gonna be 4 or 5 times. So everybody is going towards technology. Even in tier 2 or tier 3 cities, you see like people are using mobiles and they have their Facebook and LinkedIn profiles. Considering there are multiple fintech companies and financial technology is there, then there are chances of financial frauds as well, no? And also there is another part of that crypto. See, the future is crypto, and everybody is moving towards metaverse, virtual reality. So in that case, you need to have a digital identity, which is a verified identity. And even after like 5 or 10 years, everything would be driven in virtual reality. We are doing this face to face, like with this platform, like either we do through Avaya or Google Meet or Zoom. But when there is a virtual reality, then things would be different after 5 or 10 years. But in that case, in that sense, like we need to have a digital identity, which is a verified profile, and that single identity would be working for banks. And if banks are shifting to virtual reality or if they're moving to metaverse, so they also need to have a digital identity and verified profile. So there is no doubt about that. Like the verification business has to have, like they need to flourish, and they need to have multiple companies or multiple platforms, multiple technology businesses, the way we were discussing, who can help in the overall verification process. Anyhow, like after 1 or 2 years or 3 years, these traditional verification agencies or companies who are working in the verification domain from last 50 or 60 years, they will shift towards technology, and they're already shifting towards that. But considering like the Indian market, like if you check the Indian mindset, like let's say like if you take any loan or your credit card or anything, any car loan or auto loan, in that case, like these banks or fintech companies, they ask for physical address verification or ask for physical things to be checked. They still collect physical data. But after 1 or 2 years, 3 years, when we have a robust technology, when there is a support from the government in the overall verification process, so I think like everything has to be done in the verification domain only. And also like DigiLocker thing, like DigiLocker is a great platform. Nobody is using it. I think for the normal document verification, government document verification, you can do it very easily. But in education domain, I think like they still need to make it centralized system, because you won't be able to access the or do the education verification through DigiLocker or these platforms. There is no platform which can do the education verification online. Even we are trying to find a solution for that. So I see there is a lot of opportunity in the verification domain or in the domain like we are working in. And once we get that crypto, no, that decentralized thing, so everything like nobody know like where the money is and who is the person behind crypto. There has to have like a technology company or a blockchain technology company who can verify the digital identities. We are working on that. Like we have another platform which is called Trueverse, which is the adoption of Truegy, which is Truegy in metaverse. So we are working on that platform. This is a blockchain technology.
So, from the current, I mean, with the business currently, which is more around B2B right now, how are you? I wanted to ask, how are you managing your customers' experience? And what all channels are you currently utilizing to ensure that a better or a more supreme customer experience is delivered?
So initially we launched that Truegy B2C platform. Then we spent 5 or 6 months in developing the platform before going to the market. So I think this is the best strategy. Like if you're coming up with a technology product, if you check our Emptra product, no, this is a plug and play model. Anybody can come on the platform. They can consume the API services. They can consume the BGC platform for the background check or company verification. They simply need to log in with their phone number, do the verification or submit the documents only online only. The complete verification will be done again in 10 or 15 seconds or 30 seconds once, and the account will be active. And they can consume that, they can recharge directly from the platform only, and they'll get credits, and they can do the verifications online only. There is no human intervention in the overall process, even in downloading the reports that are coming from the background check process. There is another B2B product, which is a company verification. Let's say like if you want to verify any company at company level, you need to verify their directors, their AOA, MOA, COI. Everything can be pulled within seconds from MCA. There is no manual intervention. There is no human intervention in the overall process. And about the customer acquisition for that, I think like these Google ads and Facebook ads and Twitter ads, even we are getting good business from the LinkedIn. So I think like Google ads and these LinkedIn ads, they work very well. They will drive the sales to your platform. And if the platform is good and easy to handle, they'll create that account, and they'll start consuming the services. I think there are a lot of things that can be done. Let's say like getting the customer is very easy. Getting them on the platform is easy, but it depends upon the UI and depending upon the ease of using the platform. That would make them use your technology platform. But before that, we also have our sales team and marketing. Like they handle the clients and they tell them what all services we are providing. Still, there is human intervention, like when we have to close the lead. But if the UI for the new technology businesses, if the UI is good, and if the platform is easy to handle, and if the steps are properly mentioned on the platform, I think like it's very easy to drive everything if it's related to technology.
Okay. You mentioned about your sales team. What are the other channels, your maybe digital channels, you are using to kind of engage with the customers? And secondly, are you kind of monitoring in terms of once this is done, the activity of creation of profile, the relevant verification, submission of documents, and the profile becoming active? Post that, is there any way to measure if at all there are any issues per se? And is there a media available for me as a customer to kind of engage with you post this activity?
So I think like considering like it's a complete plug and play model, if they have an issue, they do the same manual process. We have a ticketing process. We tried it, but there is a whole team which is required like at the back end to manage the tickets and then closing them and updating them. Considering like it's a very new business, so like it's just 1 year or 2 years old company. We were doing that ticketing system in our publishing business in a tech platform. we had a proper team. I think like once the business is 4 or 5 years old, or people who are running business from quite a few years, they can use that ticketing business if the client size is very huge. But for a new business, I think like things can be managed easily for 1 or 2 years or 3 years. Apart from that, I've seen there are platforms like Zoho or there are the ticketing platforms which are providing like services for free for 1 year or 2 years, the first 1 year. So I think like that can be used initially just to so that they can also build their team and they get used to with the platform. We use Flock for the ticketing platform. Even we use Flock for the same communication within the team as a communicator. So I think that there are different platform technology platforms which can be used for all these things.
Pretty interesting, Ajay. I kept repeating that in my conversation, but I truly found this really interesting. I mean, it is kind of an equivalent to what I think is done on the banking side of it in terms of, if I may use those terms, CIBIL and other scores used for credit worthiness.
Right.
I think similar work, you have this true score from a
I did
social and a professional profiling standpoint, right?
right. So I'll quickly tell you about the True Score. What is the idea behind True Score? True Score is based on the overall profile, your employment, your education, your health. So everybody has to be like physically and mentally fit. So there are different factors. We designed the True Score. It's not truly on the credit side, but in the overall process. Let's say like if any employee is doing any bad to any company or any employer, so in that case, like we are giving the opportunity to employers so that they can affect the true score of that employee, so that they don't harm any company. If any employee is not happy with the employer, they can post a review on Glassdoor, Google, LinkedIn, everywhere. Is there any platform where employer can post a review about the employee? And even if they want to, they won't do that, considering like it won't suit their profile or suit the company doing like for individual employees. So we are giving that opportunity to employers in a closed system, which is called Truegy, where they can affect the true score of the employee or anybody like who is doing any bad to anybody, anyone.
Right.
So idea is
Oh, I understand. I was just drawing a parallel with that civil or the credit score. I mean, like there you have credit worthiness of an individual, and he proceeds to take a loan. Score is checked. Similarly, I think that's the similar work being done here. Pretty amazing. I think that's the set of questions I had for you, Ajay, and I think this is it from my side. It was pretty interesting to hear your views in terms of what you're doing and how you're making an impact in the field you are in. And I think that would be it from my side. Thank you so much.
thanks for inviting. That was a great conversation.
Thank you. Thank you, Akash.
Thanks,
Thank
Akash.
you so much, Mr. Ajay, for sharing your journey and views. And thank you, Mr. Anurag, for driving the session. It was a great thing.
Thank you.